where do you want to start? Oh yeah, and guys, feel free to like share any questions you might have. Just anything you might want to know from these. More than willing to answer questions and sort of share what they mean to you or how you interpreted them. Because mostly with art, uh, even though I might have a place where I'm drawing these things from, a place where I'm inspired from for these things, and they might mean certain things to me. It doesn't always mean that that's how or what they mean to you when you read them or when you hear them, you know? Because at the end of the day, my experiences brought me here, but they can take you to experiences that I've never had. So feel free to share that. But yeah, let's get into that. Actually, I just don't know how to start because I'm awkward, but it's like catch up. What the? Okay, so let's get into it. Oh, and just forewarning, there's some parts I left out of the video of this piece. Parts that, firstly, this piece is old, so there's parts of this piece that I left out because I don't, not that I don't relate to them anymore, but I feel like it needed editing. They were a bit repetitive. They were a bit, you know, they were just not going well with the picture I was trying to paint. Let me see if I left them out here. I did not. So you're in for a treat, I guess. Let's get into that. So walk with me. First step, put your best foot forward, they say. Involuntarily, the worst foot follows, right? Walk with me. It's inevitable, really. Whenever you put your right foot forward, the left foot follows, right? Yeah, I know. I'm Captain Obvious, but please, walk with me. Bear with me through the million pieces I have for myself. All of these answered by myself, but never when I ask for them. Now this, just this part already, it's you can already tell how uncomfortable I was with getting into this piece, with how, you know how you crack a little joke to break the ice and it doesn't really land, like those awkward jokes. It was kind of that, and this is like very, very early in my writing, I don't want to say career, but that. So it's just one of those things where even putting these things on paper was uncomfortable for me because I wasn't too comfortable with sharing how I feel or sharing just basically looking behind the curtain and showing people what's behind the curtain, what's behind what you see and talk to on a day-to-day for the people around me, and what you see, I guess, what I post for the people that just follow me. So it was kind of that. So as I put my headphones on, only for the noisy distraction, the silence in my head is too loud to be ignored and too awkward to be dealt with, and I need to breathe. The words I never said cover my nose and mouth while my kindness, my very own kindness, ties my hands behind my back, and I cannot fight back, so I suffocate and pass out. Funny thing. I guess these are my early struggles with anxiety, you know? I despise the word, but it's kind of that. It's at a time where I didn't really know what it was. So I could only best describe it as that, as having a silence in your head that's too loud, because you can't really hear what the voices in your head are saying. You could tell there's a lot going on. You're thinking of 100 things at the same time, and what could go right, what could go wrong, and why the things that could go right won't go right, and then you just keep going and going and going and going and going. So you reach a point where it actually starts affecting you physically, where now for some reason you can't breathe. For some reason you can't even focus on what you're working on. the walls in any room you're in start sort of like coming in on you, you know? Every room starts feeling too small now. You could be in a room this big, but it feels like you're in the toilet. But yes, that's kind of where I was, just trying to figure out what is this? What are these thoughts and what are these feelings that I'm having? Is this normal? Because also, I think I wrote this as a teenager, so as probably the worst time to deal with any kind of mental illness or any kind of problem like that, you know, because you're dealing with all these other things. You're going through puberty, you're trying to grow, you're trying to fit in somewhere, and now you're reaching a point where even your own mind feels like it's against you. It's tricky. It's tricky. So, out of my mind, I feel. My feet dance in mid-air as my body swings in pendulum motion. My failures replay themselves in slow motion, frame by frame. Blinded by my own devotion to stay grounded. But when did I leave the ground? I then noticed the friction burn marks around my neck, caused by the ties I forgot to cut with my pride, and now they tied around my neck and suspending me from ground pulled up by society. But I was only trying to fit in. Which goes back to what I was just saying now, that at a time when I was putting together this piece, it was a time when I guess being my true self didn't seem like an option when it came to fitting in. I mean, when you're younger, that's just what happens, you know. You look around you and you start asking yourself questions of like, why are you not like that? Trying to be the cool kid, trying to be, you know, and then you end up either changing yourself to become what you think is the cool kid, or you get stuck in your own head and you struggle with it for a long time, like I did, where I never really felt like there was a time when I could say, this is who I am, and it's the coolest thing on the planet at that time anyway. You know, as you grow, you kind of get comfortable in your own skin and you realize, nah, me being weird is okay. You know, not everyone has to be normal, or what your definition of normal is for that matter. So that's how I got there. So let's get back to it. So I keep looking. Headphones blasting, I get drawn away from the silence by my favorite song of the day playing. Not a second after it ends, I get pulled back into the silence regardless of the noise, and I'm disappointed at myself. Disappointed many, and disappointed by even more, my feet grow weary. Disgusted by my own inability to answer why getting the things I'm attracted to scares me. I feel so stressed out. I need to break free and walk away. Walk with me. Now, up to this point, I've kind of gone through everything that in this piece I was having a hard time dealing with, you know? The anxiety and the overthinking, the trying to fit in, the trying to grow in a world that doesn't really look like you, all these things. It's like, up to this point, I was still trying to process what these things are and what they mean. And needless to say, it wasn't easy. Still isn't. I mean, look at the kind of world we live in, right? It takes a lot for you to be comfortable in your own skin, for you to be okay with who you are and not try to change it too much. So up to this point, it was where I was like, okay, I'm seeing what's wrong, but I don't know how to deal with it. But I see it. I can tell what these things are. So the last part of it is kind of where I accept that this is not something you work on tonight and then tomorrow you wake up perfect, you know? You don't really, it doesn't happen for anybody like that. Like it actually comes from you. And it's more acceptance than growth, if you think about it, because then first comes the acceptance, then the growth. But what we're looking for is the growth, and immediately too. Like, you're trying to pray your weirdness away. You're trying to become who you think you need to be happy. And it's crazy. I feel like I'm rambling, so I'm just gonna get back into it. But I'm glad you guys can relate. It's at that time, honestly, if anyone told me they could relate, I wouldn't believe it. Because you kind of live in your own head the whole time, and you kind of believe, or yeah, it's just me. There's no way the next person gets it. And plus, it doesn't help when you can only speak to 2 people or 3 people, and those 3 people don't get it. Forgetting the whole world is bigger than those 3 people that you know. Yes, it's just your world, but you can expand it. You can find more people like you. You can find your own little community that makes you feel like you belong. And it's kind of where I was getting with the reasons why I started sharing these pieces. Just to reach out to people who kind of can get it, and people who've gone through what I've gone through, and people who kind of know more than me, because it's not like I've figured everything out. There's still a lot to learn. There's still a lot of growth to be, I feel like, yeah, you get it. So the last part goes, actually, let me read you a part that I left out because I felt like it was a bit much. And it's funny because I still do this, but it says, sometimes I never really know what I'm saying until I've said it, which is good at times because I learn from it. The problem is I can't eat my own vomit. Best I can do is apologize for your own ruined carpet, but then there's always that stain that reminds you that I once damaged it. You see, that's that thing that, I don't know, a lot of people do, and I guess I do too, where you speak as you're thinking, and it doesn't always come out right. It doesn't always translate well, because also you're thinking at a really high rate, and you're trying to get as much of it out there as you can, right? And once that happens, it's like sometimes you slip up and say certain things and you can't really take it back. And now you're stuck in a situation where by the end of the conversation, what you meant and what you said are 2 different things, but the person themselves took only what you said. Hence, I say, like, I can apologize for it, which is the best thing I can do, but there's always going to be that stain that reminds you that I once ruined it, So the last part goes, so I'm sorry. I'm sorry for trying to be what you think I'm supposed to be and failing miserably. I hope you're not too mad at me to walk with me. I promise where we're going is not silent, but peaceful. A place where fear and courage meet, where your guardian angels meet your demons for a drink, where the skeletons in your closet cremate themselves to never rise again. You're free. So smile with me, laugh with me, dance with me. But first, you have to walk with me. And that's the piece. That's walk with me. And I think by the end of it, you can tell I was kind of getting to a point where I realized this is going to be a journey. This is not going to be something that you wake up one day and it's gone and you're a completely different person. I guess I was learning what personal growth was, and realizing that for the people I chose to be my world, being family, friends, and everyone else, it's like this is more to them than the rest of the world, because that's my world. That's all I can control, and those are the people who I need to understand me better and to sort of walk with me in this. Of course, the bigger the community, the better. But first, I have to start there. I have to start with those that have to deal with me on a day-to-day basis. and sort of understand them better as they understand me better, and we sort of walk together, we sort of build together. You don't really become a better person in isolation. I don't believe so. Because whether we want to admit it or not, the measure of how good of a person you are is actually through your interaction with other people. So you do need that community for reflection. But yeah, that's the piece. That's Walk With Me. I hope you guys liked it, man. I shared it twice already, I think. There was a time when I used to do these videos that showed my face, and then later on I just exactly it's you can't really say you're the best person out there, really, only one in isolation, yeah, so it's, where was I? Oh yeah, it's my second time sharing these pieces, and I was kind of off the whole thing of sharing my work, but I came back to realize I needed to be out there. I need a reference point. I need it's almost like a guiding light for those that might need it, and for myself too. For me, it's for my own personal growth, and to actually say that my work is out there in the world. And for whoever finds it and can relate to it, I'm hoping it's more of, oh no, I'm not alone type of thing. These are the kind of things I needed to hear at that time. Mostly I'd find it in music. And also, don't get me started about my music taste. I've had to explain my music taste to a lot of people for, I guess, my whole life. Because sometimes, yes, I like all music now, but as a teenager, I think all I listened to was hip hop. But how many rappers really back then were talking about things that I could relate to as a teenager? They were saying things that sounded cool, yes, but not all of it was stuff I needed to hear. So sometimes we kind of need it. And I'm hoping this is that for somebody else. And it kind of also gave me that when I started reading them again and realizing with some pieces, I realized how far I've come. With some of them, I realized I still think that way, I still feel that way. And it was a bit comforting, which is ironic, having my name being the literal translation, yeah, comfort. So it's really that. So I'm kind of taking whoever can come with me on this journey with me, hence Walk With Me. But yeah, I hope you guys liked it. I hope you guys are good. That's Walk With Me. Probably gonna do these once a week or so with different pieces, see how far we can get. And yeah, I think I'm out. Unless you guys have like questions and stuff, I'm good to go. Oh no, I appreciate you guys for being here actually. For real. I really appreciate you guys being here. It's like I said in the beginning, it's very comforting to find people who can relate, So I appreciate you guys for being here. I'm going back to my coffee, my music, a bit of work. Have you guys have yourselves a great night. Yeah?